Howdy folks, how are you guys doing today? I'm pretty good. I wanted to give a shout out to Paul Wasabi. Go look up his YouTube channel. He sent me a gigantic box of headphones to check out, and today I'm going to check out the Tin Hi-Fi T1S. It's got like a little bit of hype, I'm not sure why, but this is them. One 10mm beryllium coated dynamic driver, KZ style shell, like plastic rivets. It's not like a resin type of thing. That's them. Pretty plain. They're actually labeled Tin T1 Plus. Go figure. Just thought I'd go over these today, do a live review using my Burson Playmate 2, the Sparkos op amps in line in this guy. That's my best device. So why don't we just do a 7-11 coupler measurement on video, just to show people how that goes. So I'll do the left headphone. We'll just shove that in there. Now I'm not going to align this because I don't really care at the moment. Just stick that in there, tighten this guy up. And there's our coupler. Okay, I have done a measurement here. I want to say I had that at volume maybe 40. I'm not sure, but we'll put it at 40 on the Burson, so that's like that. And I do need to mute this as I do this because it's going to drive everyone insane. Let me just pull the volume down on this. Sorry. And mute this, and then we're going to do a measurement. And we'll just go ahead and do that. My apologies if this is in the track. Okay. Cool. So I did a measurement right before this video. They match perfectly. That's good. That means I inserted the headphone into the coupler correctly. Things like that. Cool. So let's just look at this graph real quick. We can see that we've got, what is that, 93 to around 102 pinna. So that's like 9 to 10 dB pinna gain. From like the 1K to... So that's 92 to, well, the base, the peak of the bass, it's like 101. So like almost 10 dB of bass, it looks like. 9 dB. And, but in this area right here, a little worried. Technically speaking, generally if a headphone doesn't sort of decrease the treble in the area of like around 8, I don't know, it's 8 to 10K, right around the same as the 1K. This is dipped out. It's probably gonna come across a little bit dark for me, just based on the graph. But let's go ahead and listen. So I'm gonna do this on video. I already tried this, and I can't listen to most of these tracks. Otherwise, this video will take absolutely forever. Just pop these out. These are the Soft Ears Crystal Tips, just in case anyone cares. Burson right there. And let's just go right back here, and we're going to start with the top. Got a bunch of different genres of music. I'm going to probably start the track and then go to the middle of the track and give a rating, and we'll just do this on video. Go ahead and unmute this. Oh. Okay, so starting with blues. This is Ry Cooder off of... I think it's Music by Ry Cooder, the album, but there's like a bunch of his compilation albums. Anyway, the track is called Feeling Bad Blues. I first heard it off of the Crossroads movie soundtrack, Ralph Macchio, Steve Vai. I'm a guitar player. This is mandatory listening stuff. So let's go ahead and try it out. Okay, so I'm definitely hearing the treble roll off. I feel like this is a steel string guitar. It should have a lot of harmonic information in the upper mids and low treble. It's also a Leslie, that's a rotating speaker. Yeah, it's just not doing it for me on this track. We're gonna give this a 4 out of 10. It just needs more detail to really pull that guitar timbre and texture forward into my ears. So 4 out of 10. Let's go to the next one. Paris, Texas, also by Ry Cooder, same album, probably same mix. I'm already feeling like this is a headphone you can turn up a lot, so let's go ahead. I'm at 60 on the Burson. Okay. So give it a 5 out of 10. Okay, so because the treble is rolled on this, treble meaning this area right in here, rolled meaning that it's not passing the 1K area around 8 to 9K. It's a little lower. We're actually quite a bit lower. So these come across a little bit warm. I don't get the treble detail I know these tracks have. They're older mixed tracks, so probably don't have the like radio friendly production that like a lot of modern stuff does, so they come across a little dull on this. So 5 out of 10, Paris, Texas. All right, moving on to we're gonna, blues again. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Rivera Paradise. I've heard this track thousands of times. Love it. Let's go for it. Ooh. Okay, so a little bit dark, a little bit center focused. The ambience in this track is not shining through very well. I know it sounds a little wider than I'm hearing right now, but let's just fast forward a little bit. Okay, so in this part of the track, it's a little bit harder to pick out the instruments. The imaging is a little blurred. Not my favorite at all. A little warm. The treble details are too rolled. Well, but it's got some decent bass. The low end is picked up. You know, it doesn't feel like it's completely out of the ballpark, but 6 out of 10. A little maybe better than the other tracks, but not great. Yeah, as the track gets busier, it's a little harder to pick things out. So moving on, classical. This is Sergio and Assad, Andante. I should just mention that this is. I first ran across this stuff when I was playing classical guitar in college. This is like something my teacher wanted me to study and listen to, and these guys are amazing. Latin guitar, blah blah blah. Let's try it. One more thing, this track is basically two guys in a room and probably two microphones in a room, and there's pretty well no mixing and no polishing, so it is what it is, and yeah. Okay, so basically, the top end of this isn't bad, but the bass is too much, and so it's muddying everything up, and it's going to get a 5 out of 10. Not my favorite. I'll just move on a little bit more on the track. Yeah. It's just too warm to really bring out the textures of the nylon classical in this track. Let's move on. Eric Satie, Gymnopedes, number 1. I absolutely adore this track. First ran across it in an anime, actually, The Running Man, and I looked it up. It turns out it's a French composer. Go figure. Let's go. Okay, real quick, this track is an old track. It has rumble in it because it was never mastered. So it is what it is. But I really like it because it's a slow, meandering version of this. I don't know, meandering, but I feel like this track should be very, very, very slow. Extraordinarily slow. Okay, so we can hear the rumble in the track, which is actually there, probably a good thing. So because this isn't produced, we do need a little extra treble in this. This headphone isn't producing it, so it's going to get a 5 out of 10. It's not wonderful. Moving on. Got a couple disco tracks. I was born in that era, so why not? Let's try a couple. This is Rufus and Chaka Khan, Ain't Nobody. I'm sure someone's heard this before. Okay, it ain't bad and it ain't great. High-end detail is like neutered. This is an older track. It's definitely not produced modern style, so it needs a little extra treble. This ain't got it. Comes across a little warm, a little bloaty. As I turn up the bursin, it is crumbling. It's becoming less coherent, less easy to understand. It's not horrible, but it's going to get a 5. And that's like 5 out of 10. Yeah. So another Chaka Khan, I'm Every Woman. People have probably heard this. Disco. Okay, that's a little better. The vocals land pretty nice in this track. Again, like the cymbals, the higher end percussion is actually drowned out by everything else because it doesn't have a lot of high end energy. As I turn up, it's harder to understand and a little bloaty. Just go for a 5. It's not great. It's not bad. It's not really much. Okay, so we're moving on to EDM and electronica. So this is Brian Eno. This is Deep Blue Day off of... First heard of this Train Spotting, so I call it the toilet song. Okay, so as this like synthesizer sweep or it rolls into the audio There's a higher part of that that has some textures in it that I'm not hearing, and I've heard this track a lot. The rest of it's pretty good, but again, the dark treble, this area right up here, sorry, right in here, this is just too rolled. So we're missing some textures in the upper synth sweeps in Deep Blue Day. Give it a 6 out of 10. Overall, it's got some nice depth to it. The bass is extended. It feels reasonably deep, not too bad, but treble, yeah. So 6 out of 10. Next, so this is we'll call it a hype track. I don't know. This is an EDM banger. It's called Bird of Prey, Stargazer. Bird of Prey is the the band or the guy or whatever it is. So this has got a lot of everything. It's going to be extended treble, bass, and a lot of everything. Phasing, sweeps, reverbs. Let's go. Okay, so it's doing a real good job of the low end on this all the way up to like the mid-range, and then it just falls off a cliff. There's a lot more high-end OCD details, twinkles, like cool stuff, and I'm just not getting it. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to upgrade this by 1, and the reason is I am actually finally hearing the beryllium-coated dynamic driver. On this track, it extends very low. There's a lot of air coming out of it. It's real nice and resonant. I like it. And it's one of the bigger parts of this track, and it is what it is. So let's go for a 7 out of 10. Next, 9 Inch Nails' Sin. This is off of Pretty Hate Machine, one of my favorite tracks. Heard it since the 90s. Let's go. Good so far.
You give me the reason. You give me control. I gave you my
Fast forward a little. Okay, so it does a really good job on Sin, actually. I'm just not getting that treble detail on this track. I know is there. It's got some, I don't know if you know, Easter egg OCD stuff. Also, the staging, it's not as wide as I like, and it's definitely not as pinpoint as I want on this track. So we're going to give it a 6 out of 10. Next, this is Perturbator off the Uncanny Valley Venger. Just going to fast forward. Okay, so the treble also is a problem on this track. There's cymbals and things have a little more sparkle. I'm not getting that. It comes across a little crumbly. I don't know. So I'm hearing a little bit of distortion. I'm not sure why. Maybe the track is. I don't remember hearing that on other sets. Maybe the. I couldn't even guess, hazard to guess, but I'm hearing a little bit of distortion on it. So 6 out of 10. Let's go on to some different stuff. So this is jazz. Joe Pass, Summer Nights. Nice. Check my studio monitors real quick. Okay, so a little extra bass from what I'd want, but everything else is pretty much on point. We're going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Go figure, jazz, right? Joe Pass. So next one is Grover Washington. Jetstream. Junior. Grover Washington Jr. All right, so I downed the score as soon as the sax hit. I play sax. That is sax with no high end. It's all mid range and bass, and no. I've heard this track a lot over the years. I've heard this since the '80s, and I don't remember it sounding that warm and rolled. So no. Okay, so we're off of the like relaxing stuff. Let's move on to some crazy stuff. For a few. So this is metal. We're going to go for Anthrax, Noise Gate. This is a very rare track. I ran across it years ago. Love metal, and it's very hard to find this track. Let's go. Okay, not bad. It's got a lot of stuff going good. Guitars sound right. Because of the 10 dB pinna gain and bass, I think I'm hearing like a suck out of the guitars in, like whatever you want to call it, 300 to 800, 900. So yeah, it sounds a little bloated. It doesn't quite give me that that power feeling that I want from the guitars. This track though is a piece of crap. It was like a B-side, probably a demo, so won't be too picky. Sounds decent. I'm going off because I love metal, but 7 out of 10. Okay, Obituary, Back from the Dead. This is relatively recent. I don't know, a couple of years old maybe. I can't remember, but Lockdown. Digging this for whatever reason. The guitars sound brutal, thick, punchy, awesome. The center focus of Obituary is definitely the guitars and the vocals, and this is killing it. So 8 out of 10. Would I like something better? I feel like I can't hear the cymbals that well on it, probably because of the treble roll off. But again, that's not the focus of these tracks. Don't care that much. So 8 out of 10. Next, and probably the last metal track for you. This is SOD, Stormtroopers of Death, March of the SOD. If you're a metal person, you know it. Oh yeah. Oh wow. I don't even need to listen to that more. That's a 10. I know that. I played that track for years. I know it. I've played it millions of times. It's one of my favorites. It's a 10. The guitars are chunky. You can hear the speakers flapping. The high end is perfect. This is a live recorded album. That's a win. So yeah, it's looking like this set might be better for metal. Go figure. I didn't actually realize that. Next track is one I made. This is a vaporwave style track. It's whatever. Let's just give it a shot. Okay, just a couple things. That sounds great. That's actually the way it's supposed to sound. I had a, it's called a sub-bass harmonic exciter on that track. So the bass on that is pushed as hard as bass ever gets pushed. And these are doing a pretty good job. I'll give it a 8 out of 10 on bass, but it does a good job with that compared to cheap sets. So good, 9 out of 10. Excellent. And that track, like being a vaporwave, there's really not a lot of OCD details. It's more about the reverb, the phasing, the weird stuff going on in the track, and it does that a good job. All right, moving on, R&B rap. Let's go for Run the Jewels, Oh My Darling. Don't cry.
That's word to pimp. Word to pimp. Word to pimp. Hold up. Oh my. You are now listening to Run the Jewels. Fuck the law, they can eat my dick. That's word to pimp.
Okay, so pretty good. I am actually hearing the roll off right here below 60 hertz. I know this track pretty well. It hits some really good sub stuff back down there, and it's not quite doing the trick there. Other than that, it sounds pretty good. It could be a little wider. I could nitpick. We'll give it a 7 out of 10. All right, moving on. Beastie Boys, Groove Homes. This is off of awesome album, Check Your Head. That's awesome. That's great. Full 10 out of 10. That track is killing it. I don't know what would be better, but that sounds like it should. Sounds awesome. Moving on to reggae, double standard, double realistic. Okay. All right, that's going to get a 7 out of 10. The effects in that track, I don't know what we call them, but they're not, it's not hitting the mark for me. That's like, God, the effects, the, what is that, like a vocoder? I'm not sure, but 7 out of 10. It's not quite as wide and as deep as I'd like. The bass is excellent. Extension's good in the lows. The highs roll off a little bit. 7 out of 10. Little tempo. I have no idea how to say this, but let's listen. Okay, so I'm gonna go for a 6. When it gets busy, it's a little hard to understand what's going on in that track. I know that track super well. I actually did that on purpose. I went to a couple parts, but as it gets more complicated, the drivers don't image well. They falter a little bit. It's not as wide as I'd like. The imaging isn't as good as I'd like. Everything else is decent. Okay, so 6 out of 10. Let's go for a soundtrack. This is an OST from the heavy metal motion picture, all of you. Don Felder, I think? Yeah. Okay, so what I'm hearing right here, I want to hear this part right here. It sounds dull. We're right in this area. What is this, like 4 to 7K? That's very obvious on this track for some reason.
Yes, I know how the story goes when a woman begins to deceive. Now here you stand.
Yeah, it's just not spread out enough, a little too center focused. That track doesn't come across good. We're going to give that a 5 out of 10. All right, moving on. This is off of The Last Action Hero. This is Fishbone, Swim.
All right, here we go.
Okay, that track sounds great. It got me headbanging, swinging my arms around. I'm going to complain that the cymbals on that are drowned out entirely. You can't hear them. But the focus of that track is the vocals, the percussives, and all locking in with the guitars. So 7 out of 10 could be better, but I like it. It got me headbanging. So maybe I'll give it an 8. Whatever, 7 or 8. All right, going on to different stuff. We're getting into towards the end, fellas. If you actually care about this headphone, well, maybe this will help. I don't know. I'm having fun. Vaporwave. This is the Midnight Crystalline. Let me just fast forward a little bit.
They let anyone in the door. The problem with deceivers
All right, that was good. What I'm lacking is a little bit of ambience. The mid range is excellent on it. Saxes sound great. I'm not hearing that air. I want to hear a little bit more air on that track. It's got a lot of it, but the meat and potatoes were there. 8 out of 10. Going for Hong Kong Express Neon City. Okay. Okay, dark, dank, dungeony club. What I'm not hearing on this is the echo of the reverb hitting like the walls in the club as much as that like splash, that incredibly dank feeling. It's like diminished on this. I've heard it in other headphones. So 6 out of 10. And right to the last two tracks. This is Vintage Lounge International. This is Ibram Ferrer, Buena Vista Social Club, Herido de Sombras.
Herido de sombra, por tu ausencia estoy.
Okay, bass is too much for this track. It's a little muddy. I've heard this track like an enormous amount of times. It's one of my favorites. It's just too muddy. The treble's a little bit rolled. This is really obvious to me. This was definitely recorded as acoustic instruments, so the headphones got to do the trick here. This it's definitely produced, but it's not pumped. You know, like pop music. I'm gonna have to go to 6 out of 10. And last one. So this is the Budos Band. If you haven't heard of the Budos Band, go look them up. They're awesome. You will hear what they sound like right now. Nice. Oh, that track's choice. Gosh, I'll give it a 9. I feel like maybe a little extra cymbals and things could pop out. All right. So like, I don't actually know how to rate this. This is, but I wanted to do this on video so people kind of could, just see how I do things. Do I recommend this set? I have absolutely no idea. As you could tell, this went all the way from, for myself, from like a 4 to, well, a 10 on a couple tracks. And if I look at, I don't know, the majority of my stuff on this headphone, my library as I played on this video, the majority of this is going to be under what I would want. I've only got 2 10s. There's a couple of high scores, but in general, most of them landed around average to like above average. So this ain't going to be for me, but maybe this will help people decide if this is for them. Depending on the price, I rated some songs, some genres. Maybe that'll help you, maybe not. I'm not going to do this on this, but I will put it into my Excel spreadsheet. Generally, I'm only going to do Excel spreadsheet stuff on headphones that really, really get my stuff going, and this ain't one of them. So, right on, folks. I will talk to you on the next one.